brought to you by Tascam and Amazon Studios. For more than 30 years, Tascam has developed products for every segment of the sound and music industry. From the high-end audio professional in a major post-production studio to the novice of hobbyist at home, Tascam is everywhere. They are a company committed to providing their customers audio and video solutions that enable breakthroughs by using sound in ways that are exciting as they are accessible, even recording the voices of the dead. You asked for a non-scripted paranormal TV show. You begged for a non-staged paranormal TV show. You begged and you pleaded, and we have listened. We present to you Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown. It was released October 31st, 2017. In this series, we show you what it's like behind the scenes and conducting a real paranormal investigation. Join Gavin Kelly, Colin Purcell, and their special guests to seek out the existence of life after death by going to numerous haunted locations such as jails, hospitals, battlefields, and museums, collecting compelling evidence by means of video, photography, and EVPs. In this season, the crew investigates the St. Albans Sanatorium, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, Jailhouse Pizza, and the famed Monroe House. And you can watch Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown on Amazon.com right now. Season 2 and 3 will be coming soon.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Phantasmic Journey Podcast. We are coming to you live from the PGH Studios. Syndication is brought to you in part by WGKC, Radio Live, and Live 365. You can listen to our broadcast via the Live 365 app for your Apple or Android phone, or if you choose to use your PC, just go to www.live365.com. Now on with the show. There's a lot of strange things going on out there in the paranormal realm these days. What weird and wacky stories you got for us tonight, Paula?
Well, first of all, this is National Day of...
Daughter Day.
Yep, today's National Daughter Day. It's also National Comic Book Day.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
Yeah. So I just thought I'd let you know about that. But yeah, I've got several stories tonight. I have one that... Have you ever had people that go to auctions and they buy the strangest things at an auction, or people puts up things for an auction? Like, why, you know?
They're kind of like the weird stuff you see at a flea market?
Yeah, kind of sort of why. Well, get ready. This might be the strangest item you've ever heard of selling at an auction.
Okay.
An anonymous phone bidder in the United Kingdom paid $4,600 for a pair of underpants.
Oh, goody.
The unmentionables apparently belonged to Eva Braun.
Okay.
She was Adolf Hitler's mistress until 1945, when she married him just a day before the couple committed suicide.
Oh, jeez.
If you're wondering why anybody would want such an item, you're not alone. The Holocaust Educational Trust says items like this only belongs in museums, where they can be displayed in a proper historical content. The auction house then sold the panties, says personal items from the high-level World War II figurine typically selling for high prices. The same bidder also bought Braun's cotton nightgown for $3,200. So he bought pants. Yeah, kind of interesting, huh?
I can just see Indiana Jones going, that belongs in a museum!
Someone's underwear belongs in the museum. Hope it wasn't a bad day.
Oh, no, I didn't know Hitler committed suicide. I thought Dean Winchester killed him. Okay.
Oh, wow.
You didn't even watch that episode.
No, I did not.
Dean kept walking around going, hey, did I mention I killed Hitler?
One competitor in a fishing tournament on Lake Michigan Friday reeled in a steelhead with a wedding ring mysteriously attached to its tail by a zip tie, prompting all kinds of speculation about how the ring got there. By on Monday, the former owner of the wedding band came forward to explain why he released the cursed ring into the water nearly 7 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Captain Jason Rose told the Chicago Sun that his decade-long marriage ended 4 years ago, and he finally decided on a poetic way to discard of the symbol of their ill-fate union. I am a fishing guide. She was always against me following my dreams and hated how much I fish. Rose attached his silver wedding ring, which had a single diamond and the inscription SDH, steel, to the tail of the steelhead fish, and released it across the lake near the port of Whitehall, Michigan on May 4th. 4 years went by since our divorce. I felt I needed to get rid of the thing, but I didn't want to just toss it in the bottom pond or any other kind of thing. So I released it the best way I know how. I am convinced that the ring is cursed. My life has been nothing less than great since I released it.
Okay.
The unlucky fish reemerged 7 weeks later when Joe Pinar caught the steelhead on a friend Jim Nielsen's boat, the Gray Lion 2, during the Pass the Passion tournament by Salem Unlimited, Illinois. Now, it seems Rose only passed the bad luck across the lake to one unexpected boat owner. That ring is cursed. Ever since it came on my boat, I've had problems with my engine controls. The switch to raise the helm floor to get to the engines broke, and the hoist at my dock burst. So I think we'll mail it back to him. No return address, he joked. And then my last story of the night is a bit of history. Today, it's called The Martyred Saint Whose Death Brought Springtime. On this day, September the 25th, Catholics remember the death of the Spanish Saint Firmin, the first bishop of Pamplona, in 303 AD, and the miracles that followed.
Okay.
Saint Firmin is mostly associated with the well-known Running of the Bulls, which actually occurs as part of the 7-day festival in honor of the saint. Yet, his actual martyrdom has nothing to do with bulls chasing people. Saint Firmin lived during the Roman Empire transition period from the persecutions of Christians by Emperor Diocletian before the toleration of Christianity by Emperor Constantine the Great. As sure, Firmin converted to Christianity at a time when doing so meant risk harassment by pagan authorities. As with many Christian martyrs under Doctrine's bloody reign, Firmin also succumbed to this intolerance. After preaching the gospel, it was a today in France, Firmin was beheaded.
Ouch.
What made him a saint actually concerns what happens with his corpse rather than what occurred during his life.
Ooh.
Although dead, according to those familiar with his relics, his remains caused various miraculous events to occur. Allegedly, a sweet odor that rose from his grave somehow managed to not only cause ice and snow to melt, bringing about some sort of miraculous spring, but flowers to grow, the sick to be cured, and even trees to incline revertedly towards what remains of Firmin. Over the centuries afterwards, numerous locations in France and Spain, and possibly England, established long-running festivals to commemorate the saint's life, martyrdom, and miracles associated with his relics. And that is it. And in one of the major traditions is the running of the bulls in Spain.
Going back to that cursed thing that you were talking about, a cursed ring. You now just learned about a location that we're going to in 2022 in Italy.
Yeah.
Pavigila. Pavigila. Gila. Yeah, there you go. Supposedly that place is cursed. The fishermen won't even go near the island.
Well, you looked up the map and you saw all the boats that were underneath the water.
Yeah, it looked like there were some boats underwater. That kind of freaked me out. But, yeah, we're actually going to be the second television crew to go over there and investigate and film. First, I believe, was Ghost Adventures, back when Nick Groff was part of the team. And I believe that was in Season 3 of Ghost Adventures when they went over to Pavigila. There you go. Try to say that 5 times fast. Anyway, our special guest tonight has been investigating and researching the supernatural since 1986. due to several experiences he's had as a young man. Since the time, he has conducted several hundred investigations in the U.S. as well as in Europe. He has served in the U.S. Air Force for 8 years and went on to work as a federal law enforcement officer, retiring in 2011. During his paranormal investigation, he has experienced many hair-raising and unnerving things, as one might imagine. Having investigated a strange phenomenon for over 30 years, he has built many friendships with some of the most well-known investigators in the field today. He has even been seen on various television shows, to include Terror in the Woods, Paranormal 911, the new show that is narrated by William Shatner, The Unexplained, In Search of Monsters, and These Woods Are Haunted, just to name a few. He was also featured in the film Flatwoods Monster, A Legacy of Fear by Small Town Monsters. He has been featured guest on hundreds of paranormal-themed radio shows and podcasts, even ours. He is often featured as a guest speaker at paranormal conferences around the country. He is also an author on topics that include cryptid, hauntings, and ufology, releasing his first book, West Virginia Bigfoot, in 2018, and was featured in the highly successful Wood Knox series by David Weatherly. I am talking about the one and only Dave Spinks. How are you doing this evening, Dave?
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Oh, man. Just reading your entire bio to all of our listeners. Pretty impressive, let me tell you.
That's not all of it, but I think I need to shorten it down some.
I thought I shortened it down. Man. I mean, geez.
Well, the Willow's Weep House isn't even on there yet, and a lot of other things as well. So
that's true. Well, it says here that the first book that you wrote was in 2018, but I'm sure you've already written some more for 2019, haven't you?
Oh yeah. The Real West Virginia Haunting series came out this year in May. Volume 1 of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting ready to drop the Willow's Weep book. Will come out real soon, and same with the Real West Virginia UFO book will be out really soon too.
Oh man,
before this year is up.
Yeah, I got to get my hands on that Willow's Weep one. You remember when we did Willow's Weep, right?
Yes, I do.
We had an interesting time, didn't we?
It was interesting, but yet, I don't know, it's still an open-ended question there on a few things.
I told you about the little girl we captured.
That's what everybody says. There's a lot of unknowns at the Weep still. A lot of them.
Yeah. I told you about the little girl in the hoodie, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one still baffles us. I mean, I'll go walking on out the door. I'm just moving the camera past my truck and zoom, zooms right on by. And it's like not an IR flash because it's not even in the same direction. I mean, why is it going across if I'm pointing straight forward? And if you slow it down, you can actually see it looks like it's a figure. And I mean, it's like three frames. Yeah. So we believe it's that little girl.
That's in that video you gave me that we talked about, right?
No, I don't have that in there.
Oh, okay. I thought that was in there.
No.
Either way, you guys got some good stuff on that. Even that little trailer video, there's some freaky stuff going on.
Oh, yeah. So, well, the thing about the Willow's Weep video, I didn't add all that in there because that was actually going to be added in our episode because we actually have a few more things that happened while we were there. But the thing with the little girl, there was also a black, looks like a shadow that was running with her. So I'm going to assume that's that dog that she runs with.
Yeah, I don't know. Many people have captured a large shadow figure in that house and on the outside of it as well. Many people have reported seeing a large shadow figure and a little girl, to include the former owners.
Yep.
The former owner's husband and her saw a little girl and an old gentleman holding hands and saw them walk right through the wall in the house.
Oh wow!
There's all kind of stuff that goes on there, man.
Well, I know we stuck the Eddie on the chair where the suicide was, and that was going ballistic. We have it on camera.
Oh, yeah.
We were asking questions. It was just lighting up like nobody business. The temperature was dropping right there. EMF was off the charts. And I mean, there's really nothing there to have your EMF to go off or go nuts like that.
Well, that's what people don't understand. I mean, there's no power in the house other than the power that we run from the outside building into the house just so people can, do stuff and, run lights and stuff, IR lights and whatever they need to do. But there's no power that runs from inside the house at all.
Yeah.
So if you take out the extension cord that I run in there, basically, you're running off of nothing. There's no electrical in there, not anything. And, even if you guys saw the Unexplained episode, it was just barely scratching the surface on the house. But it was really to do, kind of like a teaser about what's to come, hopefully. And when you saw me by the chair, I mean, they cut out all kinds of crazy stuff that happened during that filming. But right by the chair, I mean, the EMF meter, the millimeter went crazy. The temperature was dropping. I mean, we had REM pods going off that they didn't have in the show. Just all kind of crazy stuff going on, And even the sound guy for the show was freaking out because he was picking up some major EVPs on his headset.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't none of us. He was free. He's like, man, there's no way you guys are getting me in here at night.
Yeah. Well, going back to that chair, we had the Eddie on there, and it's just going ballistic. And I'm looking through the full spectrum, and I swear I saw there was a shadow that was actually behind the chair next to the wall. And it was tall, too. It was like just standing next to the chair. You remember that, don't you? Mm-hmm. And we saw that shadow. So that was a bit freaky. But then I sat in the chair, and I didn't really feel awkward or weird or anything, but I just sat there, and we did a couple of EVP sessions. I had a camera going one direction, one on me, and really nothing. See, at that time, I wish I had the Kinect camera. Did we have the Kinect at that time, or no? I don't think we did.
No, I think we did. Yeah, we just did self-handheld.
Okay, yeah. Because our base camp was inside the garage.
Yeah.
And we didn't run anything out except... you ran DVR cameras, didn't you? Or did we...
I'm trying to remember.
I mean, God, that was so long ago. I don't...
I think we did, but I can't trust you on it because it's been a long time since I've been up there. And we have done a lot of investigations since
I'm thinking
then.
we had a DVR camera up there. I'm pretty sure we did because we had Amy Jo with us at the time we were up there. And I'm pretty sure we ran the DVR cameras.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm thinking we did. It's kind of hard to remember all that because it was kind of cool. And, of course, down in the basement, we kept hearing the drums. It was like a beating of a drum and chanting, which was bizarre. Mm-hmm. And that was really bizarre. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird about the crawl space in the house, too. It has there's a fire pit down there. Well, what looks to be a fire pit anyway. It's a hole dug in the ground, and they're surrounded by either granite or limestone rocks, just like you would do at a regular fire pit, and there's ashes in the bottom of it.
Oh, no.
Underneath the house, it's only like 2.5, 3 feet tall under there. I mean, I can barely fit under there. So either that house was built on some type of Native American ceremonial area, graveyard, whatever, or somebody was doing some witchcraft in there at one time under the house or something.
Yeah. Well, that would be kind of weird to do some witchcraft under there in that such small space. But
well, there's a human arm bone that was found under the house too, so there's something up with all that. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff to be uncovered about the Willow's Weep house still.
Did you just say a human arm was found?
Human arm bone, yeah.
Wow. That's freaky.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about Willow's Weep. Is it true that if someone actually does harm to the tree, they're going to get harmed themselves?
Well, it's kind of one of those test your, I don't know how to word it, but it's one of those things where you might test fate for whatever reason, because here's the deal. I mean, so Brenda was working out in the yard one day, and she saw one of her friends, car pull up in the front yard there. So she went around to talk to him, and somehow they got on the topic of the willow tree and all the stuff that's going on in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy said, I don't believe in none of that stuff, and then he grabbed the limb off the willow tree and threw it in the dash, and it was him and his brother and one of their friends. Well, him and his brother were in the front seat, and his friend was in the back seat. So he pulled the limb off the tree and threw it in the dashboard, and they went down the road. About an hour later, Brenda gets a phone call saying those guys started fighting in the car. They missed the curve, went flipping off the road, and flipped the car right into a graveyard up against a tree.
Ooh.
And all three were life-flighted.
Damn.
So you got that, and then you got, there's a story of this woman who was helping the last man that died in the house after his wife died, and she, ended up getting together with him or whatever, but then they had a falling out or whatever, and she left. Well, when she found out he had shot himself, she came back to the house, and Brenda, she was talking to Brenda and stuff, and she was saying how much she just loved that willow tree, and she asked Brenda if she could take a branch home with her. And Brenda's like, well, I don't really advise that, but it's a free country, if you want to take some home, go ahead, but this is what happened to my friends when they said that, when they did something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the woman went ahead and took as Brenda tells it now, I can't, I have to go off of what Brenda says, but the woman took the branch home with her because I guess there's a way you can sprout them things or something. And, well, come to find out, just a short time later, that woman died of unknown circumstances, and it says it right on her death certificate. And it was just a short time after she took the branch home with her. So it's one of those testing or tempting fate type of things. And the willow tree is sacred to Native Americans. So in my thinking, I'm like, well, the neighbors find arrowheads and pottery in their yard a lot when they dig gardens and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
That whole area is a known Native American area. I mean, there's burial mounds and all around there. And there was numerous battle spots there between the white settlers and Native Americans. And if that area is sacred, it could be some kind of burial ground or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And being that they hold the tree sacred, then if you mess with it, maybe there's some type of elemental protecting it that messes you up. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but that, that's my whole mode of thinking on what's going on with that. I always offer tobacco and everything when I go to on the property.
Mm-hmm.
It's my property. So, it's just a respectful thing, I think, and whatnot. So, but who knows, man? I mean, that's just another crazy aspect to the Willow's Weep House.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out. I've heard different stories where it's the shaman's wife that is protecting the house, and the shaman, I believe, that's what was told.
The shaman?
So I
don't know. There's a lot of when Brenda first started having all the paranormal activity, she didn't know nothing about it, so she started reaching out to investigators, having them come in, trying to figure out what the heck was going on there and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of misconceptions that have been put out from different people and everything, some people's feelings on this way or that way or whatever they feel that what was going on. So, that's all hearsay and whatnot. I mean, for me, I have to take a hard look at the deaths in the house and all the crazy stuff that happened in there, that would most likely lead to paranormal phenomena going on.
Right.
I mean, that's what I'm going to look at first and foremost, other than shaman this or, this or that. I mean, it is what it is, but there's many different takes on the Willow's Weep, and many feel that that's, there's definitely a portal there, and I feel there's a portal there. I think that house was built in a specific way for a specific purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with the points coming out over top of the doors, or, there was once 4 entrances and exits, and those weird points that point right to the center of the cross,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of the activity happens right there in the center of the main room of the house. I've got numerous videos of children's balls rolling around, and they all seem to stop right there in the center of the main room of the house.
Oh,
it's
wow.
really freaky stuff.
Huh.
And then directly on the floor, right under that area, is where that weird fire pit is, too. So, if you put all that together, you got to say, man, what's going on here?
Right.
Is there some kind of portal opened up? What is this? And then, the town's got two rivers coming into it right there. One's right down the street from the house.
Right.
Underneath the whole area is a huge aquifer, and we all know that water is a conductor of paranormal activity.
Mm-hmm.
And, you throw all this stuff in there, there's all these crazy nuances. There's a crossroads directly in front of the house. If you subscribe to the Devil in the Crossroads story,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then you have molestation. You have a possible scenario where a woman, the woman story that moved in there that had the young girl and the older son that hung himself, and the little girl came up missing first,
Mm-hmm.
and the arm bone that was found under the house happens to be that of a young child, according to the local doctor.
Hmm.
So, you've got all these different things going on here over the years. It's almost like that TV show American Horror Story with so many layers of stuff. I mean, we're just scratching the surface of it right now.
Yeah, it sounds like it. We definitely need to come back out there and check that place out.
I mean, there's 7 confirmed factual deaths in the house. That's not counting the ones we don't know of, because there's whole missing decades of me trying to find people that lived in the house, because I think at some point whoever owned it was renting it out to people too.
Wouldn't it?
So, and then if someone's written it, they don't usually keep those records, in the courthouse. It's just whoever owns it.
Right.
So it's hard to tell what all is going on there. And then you have that weird pamphlet that was found between the new floor and the old floor, and it's in the guise of from the Church of God, but I don't know any, me personally, I've never seen a Christian organization produce a pamphlet that has an upside down pentagram on it and talks about how to communicate with spirits and necromancy and everything else.
Right.
To me, that goes against all Christian beliefs,
Most definitely. I remember looking inside that book when we were there. I was a bit freaked out. I'm like, what in the world is this? What were you going to ask?
I said, but
Yep.
isn't there like a very high saturated Indian area though? Willow's Weep is?
Yeah, it is.
Because not very
Yeah.
far from the house. Because I'm one of those that do a lot of back of history research stuff too. And I know before me and Gavin went out there and investigated, I found out where the house was not very far from some Indian mounds.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, there's mounds all over that area. That whole area is loaded with Native American stuff.
Okay. There was one thing that was kind
Yeah, one of the biggest mound in Indiana is right there in that county, right down the road from the house.
Oh, wow. Well, there was just one thing that was kind of bizarre. I don't know if this is true or not, but Brenda told us that somebody put a crucifix up on the wall and it actually burned and it left the crucifix mark on the wall.
That's what she told me, too. She said that was hanging in there when she got the place. And from what I understand, it's one of the ex-family members of the people who died in the house there. And she said she came in one day, and that thing had always hung on the wall, and it was all crumpled up and melted on the floor, and there was a weird burn mark on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
But I've gotten several reports that are saying that one of the family members was acting like an idiot and burned that mark on the wall. So I don't know, But Brenda swears up and down that it wasn't there when she moved into the house. That burn mark and the cross was still hanging there.
Yeah.
Well, not when she moved in, but when she took over the house. So I don't know, the family is not happy. The family members of the last 2 people that died in there are not happy with any paranormal investigating going on there, but that's just too bad. They shouldn't have sold the house. I mean,
Right.
with a house like that, you can't tell people what they can do and stuff when they own a property.
Mm-hmm.
They're upset about it because, their 2 of their family members died horrendous, tragic deaths there, but, you know, the house goes way back before those two. I mean, it goes to the 1800s, and there's numerous deaths before them. You know, the most gruesome death, I think, is the one of Jesse Sykes, that was the child molester that went to feed the hogs one day, and he didn't come back, so they found him in the hog pen being eaten alive by his own hogs, and they ate his junk off. They ate his ankle, one of his ears, and his guts were hanging out. And that's not some karmic devil coming to collect for your sins stuff. I don't know what is, you know.
Damn. Yeah. Or he was out there and he had a heart attack or just collapsed. But damn.
Or either way, and they started eating him. But you know, he was a bad man. He was molesting one of his own stepdaughters and got caught. You know, and they find him. I've got all the court papers to verify that. I've got the newspaper articles about him being eaten alive by his own hogs. I mean, it's crazy stuff.
That's gruesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm glad I didn't eat. That's just sick. All righty.
Yeah. So you know, you have his blood stained in the house. You got the last man who shot himself in the house. I mean, there's so much. The blood that is in that house is, you know, it's full of energy, negative energy, and it's if that's a perfect storm, you know, to cause paranormal phenomena in my eyes.
Right. Whew, man. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting place. And let's see, we know that you have been investigating for 30 years, but the question everybody probably wants to know is, what made you interested in the paranormal? I can see that you said you had experiences when you were a young man. What type of experiences did you have when you were younger?
Well, the thing that really changed my life and it started me on my path and this stuff was the Bigfoot experience I had with my grandfather while fishing here on the Gauley River. You know, we were fishing and some big splashes hit the water, then these got off piles, and then I saw what I can only describe would be a Bigfoot, you know, tearing down the woods, raising heck, and letting out these god-awful howls. You know, I told that story on that show, Terror in the Woods. I wrote about it in the book, West Virginia Bigfoot. And I never told the story until I went, you know, I didn't go public till after my grandfather died, because he was a Baptist minister, and we made a promise way back in 1983 not to talk about it because he didn't want his parishioners thinking he was drinking beer or crazy, you know. So after he died, I was like, you know, I get this question all the time, so I need to tell that story, you know. I kind of feel like I'm lying to people when I tell them the other story that really piqued my interest and made me go into the ghost side of things more. And so I finally got to tell that story and everything, but there was a funny aspect of that story too, because here I kept that story secret all these years, and I wanted to tell my uncle, hey, I'm going to tell, you know, start telling this story in the public because that's what happened. That's what started me. And he's all, oh, you're talking about that monkey man you and Papa saw in the woods that year. And I said, you got to be kidding me. He told you? And he said, yeah. He said he told me about that like 25 years ago. He came to me one day and he said, I want to tell someone in case something happens to me what me and David saw in the woods that day. So I was kind of aggravated because here I kept it quiet, but, you know, and he told my uncle. And I was just sitting there kind of dumbfounded for a while, you know. And, you know, but I was, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, the joke's on you because here I kept it all quiet for many years, and then he had told my uncle about it, you know, so.
How far away?
So
how far away were you from it?
I'd say about 60 to 70 yards in that range, between 60, 75 yards at the most.
And you
it
said
was across the river, and that side of the river is very, very steep, and people don't even go over there to fish. It's so steep. I mean, it's rugged, and it's straight up and down in most of the area over there. And, you know, this thing was going up the side of the mountain like it wasn't nothing. And I saw it from about the waist up. I didn't see its legs, but, you know, it was walking like a human, and it was covered in hair, darkish brown, almost black hair. It had a little bitty head that looked like an ape, but the shoulders were huge on this thing. Like it was double the size of my grandpa at least, and made him look tiny, and he was 6'4". And, it scared the living hell out of me. It changed me, man. I didn't go to the woods for like 6, 7 years after that.
Oh, wow.
I had nightmares about it because of the howl or the roar, whatever you want to call it, that this thing let out. I mean, it really messed me up, and I had nightmares about that thing.
Did it see you guys?
Oh yeah, it threw big giant rocks at us.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's what. See, we were sitting there. We caught our limit, of fish that day, and we cooked them up, and we got, we were sitting there just stuffed, and it was probably a half an hour before dark, roughly. And then this huge splash hits out in the water, and of course we jump up. I mean, the splash was so big, like the water rained down. Whatever it was that hit the water, we didn't see it at first because, we were just chilling out, and it was kind of off to our left a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we looked around for, 4 or 5 minutes trying to figure out what it was that hit the water. Like we thought maybe a branch came out of a tree,
mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of big trees that overhang the water over there. Or then we didn't see no branch floating. So we looked, my grandpa said, well, maybe one of the rocks came off the rock cliff over there and we just didn't see it. And I'm thinking, well, that thing would have had to jump a ramp to hit that far out in the water,
Right.
But, so after a little bit, we kind of just calmed down and sat back down and we were relaxing. And then I heard the sound of something coming through the tree limbs off to my left. And that's when I saw this huge freaking boulder rock coming in an upwards direction through the trees and hit out in 20, 30 yards out in the river.
Jesus.
And it rained down again. And then I was standing there looking, going, what the frick? And then I looked back and my grandpa's gone. And he's running to the tent. So I know what he's doing. He's going to get the shotgun.
Oh, yeah.
So he comes back. He starts yelling across the river, thinking it's people messing with us. And he's like, you hoodlums, knock it off, or I'm going to shoot. And then that's when that thing let out this ungodly roar, howl. So guttural. I mean, it echoed down through the river because the river is in a canyon here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's steep. And it just echoed like right through you.
Ooh.
And then it all transpired after that, but it was crazy, and then in the show, I like to tell people what was real and what wasn't real. In the show that I told the story on, they acted like we spent the night. Well, we didn't spend the night. We got the hell out of Dodge.
Right?
We left all of our gear. Yeah, we left all of our gear there and everything, and my uncle had to come back a couple days and get it.
Was anything destroyed?
Huh. Nope. No, it's a good 2 or 3 miles off the hardtop road down to the river. And
okay.
A rough, rugged road to get down in there.
So has anybody else ever seen what you saw there in that general vicinity?
Over the years, I've got a lot of reports in that area. I'm working on a case right here in my county right now where I've got pics of tracks and everything else, game camera pics of what looks to be a possible Bigfoot.
Oh wow!
All kinds of stuff. And that's what my Bigfoot book is about. The West Virginia Bigfoot. It's accounts from all kinds of people, from state troopers to doctors to lawyers, all over the state of West Virginia that claim to have seen a Bigfoot. The same thing I saw so many years ago, and it's got my account and then all those other people's accounts in it. That's just a culmination of many years of interviewing people, mm-hmm. People knowing what I do, and they get a hold of me, hey, I saw this over here, then I go out and investigate, and I try to find evidence, and I interview them and whatnot, and they tell me their stories.
Well, I do know a long time ago, when I was living in California, I was talking to somebody that's a friend of my dad's, and he said that he was up in Saskatchewan, and
mm-hmm.
it was him and his wife and his 2 sons, and they were in a camper, and they were driving down this one road, and it was basically kind of sort of flat terrain, but not really. It was like brush, and it was covered with grass and everything. Well, they were coming on up, and the light hit something which kind of looked like a shape, and then it turned into a rock. And they thought maybe that was a light hitting the side of it, and it kind of gave the assumption that it was something else. until they kind of sort
Yeah.
of got close to it. The damn thing got up and ran.
Yeah.
But it actually camouflaged itself as a rock.
Huh.
And then it just got up and ran right across the street, across the field. So, I don't know. I haven't quite believed in it because I haven't seen one, of course. But, you know, hearing my friends talk about it, it kind of makes me want to believe. Now, if it comes to UFOs, I ain't going to believe in UFO until that thing lands in my backyard.
Yeah.
That's my
Well,
thing.
the way I look at it, you know, the way I look at all this stuff, Gavin, a lot of it's interrelated in many aspects. And, you know, to me, it's some of man's greatest questions. What happens to us when we die? Are there unknown creatures walking among us? And are we alone in the universe?
Yeah.
And you have to take into account all the thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of reports from people that have something to lose by even coming out publicly and saying, you know, this one time I was in my backyard or whatever and I saw this, you know. I mean, when you got doctors and lawyers and teachers and law enforcement officers all saying they've seen these crazy things, I mean, you have to take that into consideration because what do they absolutely, you know, what do they really have to gain by this? Nothing. They're going to be ridiculed. They're going to be thought, you know, made fun of and whatnot. I mean, you have to take those things into account because, you know, they saw something that they can't explain, and that's, you know, they want to share their story because they want it out there, you know.
Yeah, I understand that to an extent, but there's also a lot of people out there that go ahead and make stories up so they can get out there.
Yeah, well, you'll have that too.
Yeah.
You'll have that.
And the sad thing is, how can you validate their story? You really can't.
Well, you can't validate any of this stuff really scientifically.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you can capture stuff on camera. You could have barring having a ghost come up and sit down next to you at a table where you can see him on camera, and you film the whole conversation, and then you can back it up with factual evidence. And even if you do that, people are going to say, "Oh, you CG'd that." You know, I mean, there's always going to be people that don't buy it because they've never had an experience, or they simply just don't believe in that kind of thing. And you can't change people's minds on that. You're really wasting your time. Mm-hmm. You throw out what you got and you say, hey, here it is. You know, you decide what you think it is. That's really all we can do at this point in all of these fields, because it's like politics, you know, politics and religion. You're not going to change people's minds on it. So, you know, it is what it is.
That's true. That is true. Do you believe in Bigfoot, dear?
No.
No?
I have to physically see something.
Haven't you seen Harry and the Hendersons?
Only thing I can say is there is a Bodine that actually exists.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I take that back. Yes, I have seen Bigfoot. He stood next to me at the bar. His name is Bodine,
Bodine,
and he wears overalls.
Yeah.
I hear it.
Yeah, we were at SilCon, and all of a sudden this Bigfoot shows up in the bar, and he's taking pictures with everyone.
I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, he's wearing a costume?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Jay Lynch.
It was funny because he was going, and the deal is, part of the hotel was for the convention. The other part was just families and kids and people that, you know, just coming by because there's like a parks and amusement areas in the same area where we were at. Mm-hmm. And it was like, it was interesting seeing the reaction of the people that was not part of the paranormal and the Comic-Con convention, because we knew kind of sort of what was going on, but the other people in the hotel did not, and the expressions on their face, especially the
drunks, that was funny.
That was awesome.
the drunks expressions, oh boy, priceless.
Messing with Sasquatch.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was Jay Lynch inside the costume. It was funnier than heck, though.
Oh,
yeah. But
yeah, he's a character.
Oh, yeah. You can say that again. Yeah, he was taking pictures of everybody. He was doing the "I'm lit" sign and everything. Oh, geez, he was dancing on the floor. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, okay, we kind of got sort of off track here. I mean, this is awesome, all the stuff that we're talking about. But what was your first case when you first started out investigating the paranormal?
My first actual case?
Yeah.
Well, one of the first things I did, believe it or not, was I filmed an exorcism for the church.
Oh, wow.
They needed to film. They needed someone to film, and I happened to have a camera, and they knew I was, an investigator, so to speak. I was still learning cutting my teeth way back when, and I filmed this, and it was one of the most just unnerving things I've ever seen. Really, it scared the hell out of me too. But I started investigating the haunting stuff because I saw the show In Search Of, and they had Hans Holzer on there, and he had a tape recorder, and he was doing EVPs, and I had a tape recorder just like that I had gotten for Christmas. I said, hey, I want to do that. And, whenever we would go to, when I was a kid, we would go to a lot of Native American ruins and just different family vacations like that and check stuff out. And I went to Mesa Verde in Colorado, and I actually captured an EVP of chanting and drums.
Oh, wow.
Out there, and, there was nobody out there. I mean, there was maybe 10 people out there, and it was the middle of the week, nobody around, and all the people that were there were right there, and, it was a national park and stuff, and I kind of went off to the side, and I was just recording. I just hit record and had my little microphone holding it up in the air. Didn't hear it with my ears, and got to the house and, played it back, and I was like, holy crap, man, there's drums and chanting on here. So, when you get stuff like that, it kind of hooks you, and you want more. You keep going back, and you keep going back, and you keep going back. And you start doing people's homes and everything else because a friend of a friend is having something going on, and they say, hey, I know a guy that does that, and so they want you to come to their house and try to help them figure out what's going on, and it just goes and snowballs into something, a hobby going insane, so to speak.
Out of curiosity, do you have any Native American heritage in you?
Yeah, let me think here. My great-great-great-grandma was full-blooded Cherokee, from what my mom told me.
I'm just wondering how, you're going to all this Native American stuff that they're actually taking to you. They're comfortable with
Maybe. I mean, I don't look Native American at all, but my mom did. My mom had, she had her hair looked Native American. It was real dark and straight, and she just had a look to her. And, but I don't know, that's a possibility. Some people say that, that they know that you have that blood in you or whatever the case. I'm not sure about that, but, I don't know.
Well,
I do know that a lot of these cases I've done over the years, they seem to almost all, the majority of them anyway, have some kind of connection to the land, the land or something to that effect has Native American ties to it, where either crazy battles happened or it was sacred Native American hunting ground or burial ground. A lot of these hauntings, seem to have ties to the Native Americans of various tribes.
Yeah, it kind of brings me to, you don't have to actually look it just runs in your bloodline. On the flip side, we have a friend, you can't tell this about her, but when we take her with us, anywhere we go, she gets her ass kicked. She will get scratched. She will get punched. She will have her head slammed into a workbench. And we're beginning to think that she has gypsy blood. Some type of a white light that the spirits don't like.
Yeah.
So that's why I was kind of asking.
I've had some crazy attacks on happen to me too over the years. Scratches. I got at the Rhodes Hotel. I got my head cracked by something, and it was coming across the ghost box saying that it hit me with a shovel and all this stuff after it happened. And it was calling it was calling itself Ian for whatever reason, but we've got that name at several locations after that all happened. Like he's following us around. It's weird.
Like an attachment?
Well, no, I don't think he tried to attach to me, but like this one, I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 investigations after that happened. We were at this place, and the camera kept going in and out of focus, like somebody was doing it manually, and nobody was around the camera,
Mm-hmm.
And so Weatherly was with me, and he turned the ghost box on, and he said, "Who's messing with the camera?" It clear as a bell, man. It was the same voice that said, "Oh, it's Ian."
Wow.
And we're like, "What?" And he's like, "Ian, stop messing with the daggone camera," and it never happened again. It's just kind of one of those funny stories. It's just like, dude, we don't need a ghost cameraman, man. Go back to where you're supposed to be.
Right. Well, going back to the one thing that you said, when you go to a location that you do your offering of tobacco because it's a Native American land. We actually did the exact same thing at the Hinsdale house. First, we went to the Giving Tree up the hill, and then we put tobacco down on all 4 sides of the Hinsdale house. And we really didn't get anything bad. We had some weird things. We had 2 cameras pointing upstairs, and all of a sudden it would go, doo, doo. It would shut off completely. And I'm like, okay, maybe the batteries are dead. Look at the battery. I take the camera down, look at the battery. Hey, it's fine. Put it back up. Doo, doo. I'm like, son of a bitch. So I was like, okay, I got this. I'm going to plug it into electric. I hooked it up to electric. It started recording. Went, doo, doo. I'm like, you've got to be shitting me.
So there was something in that stairwell that didn't want us to film it.
Obviously. And if we tried to film, it would go out of focus for some weird reason. But
I'm sure you guys have experienced they like to mess with electronics a lot, man. I mean,
oh yeah.
The weep is like that a lot. Numerous people report battery drain and their cameras turn off and have a fully charged 4-hour battery in them. All kinds of stuff. I mean, that's just what happens. The electrical field is really disrupted at some of these locations.
Yeah, well, try to figure this one out for me. We went to the Farrar Elementary School. I'm sure I've told you this before in person, but I had one camera inside the gymnasium filming the Phantom basketball game, and I had another camera filming the Phantom basketball game. So it was different angles where you could see the eddy. You could see the eddy on one side of the court with the geophone ticking, showing that something's over there. And then when it disappeared, you see it show up on the other side with the Phantom vibe. And I'm filming this. But then all of a sudden it says, card full. I'm like, well, crap. So I take the cards out. I go to base camp. I dump them. Come back, put the cards back in the cameras. Lo and behold, after I did the entire filming for the investigation, we ain't got shit on those cards. 768 gigabytes of worthless nothing. We got nothing inside the school. Anything that was filmed on the outside, perfect. The drone, perfect. Anything inside, forget it. Gone.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. I asked a lot of people, and some of them say, yeah, that actually has happened to them too. So it's basically an occurrence that could happen. We were just, I guess, lucky for that one.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't new cards or anything. Like they didn't need to be formatted or nothing, did they?
Nope. I've been using these cards. These were cards that we've been using. They're 128 gigabytes, and they're in 4K cameras.
And they worked fine after that, too?
Oh, yeah. After we got home, I went ahead and took the card. I put it in there. I did some filming around the house and outside, and took the card out and played it. I'm like, son of a bitch. Yeah, both cameras. But get this. This one really blows my mind. Camera, when I turned it on to record, it said full battery, right? We go ahead and put it into the location we were at, and we started filming. Gone. That fast. I look at it, and it says it's flashing. Battery's dead. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. turn the camera off, leave that particular area, go outside, turn the camera back on, it's full.
Yep. Yep.
I'm like, no way. And then,
Had a bunch of the stuff happened to me too over the years. I mean, it happens.
yeah, and then you take the camera back in, go back to that very same spot, put it back up on the tripod, flashes red.
Weird, man.
Yeah, the best part is when you hook it up to power and it still flashes.
Yeah.
In that same freaking area. You remember that, don't you?
Yes.
That was U.S. Marine Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Man. And then, of course, in that very same area, we heard something say, Gavin. And it wasn't her. I'm just like, did I just say my name? Wow. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
that's what you talk about all these places. You don't. It's just like Forrest Gump said. It's like a box of chocolates. You don't ever know what you're going to get, man.
Oh,
And
that's
you know,
true.
Go in there, and one time it'll be off the hook, and next time you don't get squat. You know, you just never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these places that we've been to are just I mean, I wouldn't say they're off the charts, but some things that happen in there are just really strange. I mean, like the Octagon Hall. Paula and Sammy were in the second barn up on the second floor, and they heard noise coming from the corner. They're like, what the hell is that? And they look over there, there's nothing there. So what's the next step to do? Well, let's take a picture. They both take a picture. And when you look at it, there's an apparition of what looks like a Mexican cowboy. He's got the hat, the nice broad shoulders, the I don't know, the neckerchief or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's not a bolo, but yeah, you can actually see this whole thing. And Sammy got the profile of the apparition, which really blows my mind.
Yeah.
But that's kind of crazy.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. So we're at the top of the hour here, so we're going to go ahead and take a commercial break, and we will be right back. And when we come back, we're going to go ahead and talk to you about what was the most strangest case you've ever dealt with. So you guys are listening to the Phantasmic Journey podcast, and we will be right back after these messages.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad
My
Council.
family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter, Brooklyn, was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
What are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag in the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The Phantasmic Journey Podcast is brought to you by Tascam and Amazon Studios. For more than 30 years, Tascam has developed products for every segment of the sound and music industry. From the high-end audio professional in a major post-production studio to the novice of hobbyist at home, Tascam is everywhere. They are a company committed to providing their customers audio and video solutions that enable breakthroughs by using sound in ways that are exciting as they are accessible, even recording the voices of the dead. You asked for a non-scripted paranormal TV show. You begged for a non-staged paranormal TV show. You begged and you pleaded, and we have listened. We present to you Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown. It was released October 31st, 2017. In this series, we show you what it's like behind the scenes and conducting a real paranormal investigation. Join Gavin Kelly, Philip Purcell, and their special guests to seek out the existence of life after death by going to numerous haunted locations such as jails, hospitals, battlefields, and museums, collecting compelling evidence by means of video, photography, and EVPs. In this season, the crew investigates the St. Albans Sanatorium, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, Jailhouse Pizza, and the famed Monroe House. And you can watch Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown on Amazon.com right now. Season 2 and 3 will be coming soon.
And welcome back to the Phantasmic Journey podcast. We are coming to you live from the PGH Studios. Syndication brought to you in part by WGKC, Radio Live, and Live 365. You can listen to the broadcast via the Live 365 app for your Apple or Android phones. And of course, if you want to use your PC, go to www.live365.com and search for WGKC. Tonight, our special guest. You have seen him on various television shows, to include Terror in the Woods, Paranormal 911, The Unexplained, In Search of Monsters, and These Woods Are Haunted, just to name a few. I'm talking to our special guest tonight, Dave Spinks. Let's bring him back on the show. Welcome back, Dave.
Hey, man.
So, we wound up leaving here with, we're going to talk about what was, or what is, the most strangest case you have ever dealt with.
Well, there's so many, man. I mean, really. One that pops in my brain right now is Revenant Acres. I was there a few years ago with Weatherly and Sean Austin, and we were getting some really bizarre stuff going on. We started smelling the smell of feces and pretty much like rotting flesh. And I had gone outside to use the restroom, and Sean was standing in the kitchen window, and I took a picture, and there was two windows there, and the window next to him had this really weird white horned creature, what it looked like, standing next to him in it. And I had my recorder in my pocket later on in the night, and it was turned off. And we were just doing what we were doing, investigating and whatnot. Well, I went to take my recorder out of my pocket, and it was turned on, and it had something on it. So I hit play, and I mean, the sounds that were coming out of this thing, man, were straight up what you would expect demons from hell to sound like. Just all this growling, and it was saying, demonic type stuff. And I'm like, how the hell did that happen? Because it's one of those recorders you have to actually turn the button on,
right,
and hold it down for it to come on. And it was just sitting loosely in my hoodie pocket.
Huh.
And could have turned on, but what it got was nuts. And it was a DR60 recorder. And, those operate when they hear voices and stuff, but it was really weird. And we had seen this video from the guys that ran it. They were both cops. One of them was a cop, and they ran it for the owners, and they showed us this video of this young kid that had been there a few months ago, a few months before we got there, and they were doing a public event.
Mm-hmm.
And they had this kid. He was real skinny, and this one guy, the other guy that ran it, was upstairs, and they were upstairs in there's one upstairs bedroom in this place. And this kid was a little tiny guy, real skinny, and the guy that was running is huge, man. He's like 350, a big old dude, and he's not fat. He's all muscle.
Right.
And this kid was right up in his face in the video, spitting in his face when he was talking, and his left arm, or one of his arms, I don't remember if it was left or right, but his arm was contorting all the way around.
What?
And if you would do that to a person, you would break their arm would snap.
Right.
So this guy's doing all this stuff, spitting in this guy's face, and this guy could smash this guy like an ant,
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden the guy passes out on the floor. So they take him outside. He comes to. They like throw water on his face and everything, and he comes to. Has no recollection of any of it, doesn't know what happened, and all this stuff, right? So later on in our investigation that night, we're upstairs in that room, and we're getting some really creepy stuff on the ghost box and stuff, and then all of a sudden, it feels like a Mack truck hits the house.
Oh.
An 18-wheel. You hear this humongous boom, the whole house shakes, and we turn everything off, and we're just bug-eyed looking at each other going, what in the actual heck was that?
Mm-hmm.
And we were doing it live, and all the people on the live video heard the boom. They saw the whole thing go down. And so we turn up, like I said, we turn the ghost box off and everything, and then we hear what sounds like footsteps walking around downstairs. Now, in those old houses, if you look at the heater vents in them, a lot of the old ones have the ones you can see straight down to the next level.
Right.
I'm looking down there, and it sounds just like somebody's walking around, and then the steps start coming up the stairs towards us.
Uh-oh.
So I'm thinking, shit, somebody's in the house. So I pull my gun, and I'm waiting at the top of the stairs for them. Nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. And so many really negative things happened during that investigation that was one of the only times we all decided, we talked about it, and we said, look, man, we actually felt like we were in danger, and we cut the investigation short. Right. And rolled out of there. It just had the most ominous feeling that you can ever imagine. And I've never run out on an investigation, but we had experienced so many things and got so much stuff. We're like, look, we got plenty of stuff. It's not worth it at this point. Let's just roll out of here. And we cut it short a couple of hours, So, because we actually, all of us felt that, it was, we were spiritually in danger at this point. So, that was one of the most strangest and bizarre cases I've ever done. It wasn't really a case, just an investigation of a location. But,
right.
I don't really talk my residential cases very often. Yeah, that was a crazy, crazy place. It's too bad it's shut down now,
Yeah, we've been invited to go there a couple times and just couldn't swing it due to our filming schedule. But yeah, it is kind of sad that it is shut down. I'm just trying to figure out what in the world was actually there. It sounds like somebody brought something there, because I've had a lot of friends that went there to investigate, and they never, ever encountered anything like that.
It was nuts. We were looking out the windows thinking, because there's a 4-lane highway about, 25, 30 yards out in front of the house, or more, a little bit more than that maybe. We figured somebody lost control and went off the road and hit the house. That's how bad it was, It was just this humongous boom.
Yeah.
And the whole house shook. And, after we thought about it, we're like, man, did something punch through, to our side of reality, and then all that crazy stuff was going down? What happened here? It was nuts.
Did you hear a sound before the boom?
No. But we did have the ghost box running, and it was pretty loud, so there could have been something we missed. There wasn't no flash of light like an explosion or anything.
Right.
It felt as something actually hit the house, because the whole house shook. There was no trains in the area, nothing like that. We looked outside, we couldn't figure it out, at all.
Well, the reason why I'm asking that is because we were investigating Willow's Weep, and we had 3 investigators up in the attic, and they were using...
not Willow's Weep.
Not Willow's Weep, darn it.
Benton Farms.
Benton Farms. God, I got Willow's Weep on the brain. Thanks, Dave. Benton Farms. We had 3 investigators up in the attic, and they were using the gateway. Well, they were doing their EVP session. I was feeling sick because the heat was getting to me or something, but I went ahead and laid down on a blow-up mattress in the living room. Now, there's no furniture there. It's just straight up, some chairs, but I'm laying down in this mattress just to chill a bit. And while they're up there, my name came across the gateway, and next thing you know, I'm actually experiencing a heart attack downstairs. And I kind of roll over, stagger. I mean, I have no control really, but I'm actually trying my best to get over to base camp, crawling. I get the radio. I radio her, tell her what's going to come down quick because I'm having a heart attack. And everybody just stops. They all come downstairs. They help me outside. Once I get outside, I'm fine. But the weird thing is, the reason why I asked about this sound is because while we were outside and I'm recuperating, feeling better, we heard what sounded like and then boom as the side of the house sounded like somebody slammed their fist into the wall or the window. The whole house shook. And what it only could remind me of is what happens when evil's coming to capture Ash in Evil Dead.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like. And that was bizarre. What were you going to say?
Well, a lot of people, I've seen some shamans and stuff do some clearings on people, and I've heard pops and stuff when they did it, when it was like the negative entity leaving them is like a loud pop, like a light bulb popping and stuff like that. So it's almost as if, there's a portal that opens and closes and makes that popping sound or something. I don't know. But this thing that we had that night was just a massive boom.
Yeah.
And, the whole house shook.
Mm-hmm. It sounded like somebody, it sounded like the Hulk slamming his fist into the wall or the windows. I mean, it just vibrated. And the whole house shook because the ground shook too. We were by the truck and felt it. We're like, what the hell was that? So obviously whatever it was pissed off that it didn't get to finish what it was trying to do.
Yeah.
So what do you think us crazy people did afterwards?
Went back in.
Yep. That's exactly right. Went right back in. Here I'm sitting on this couch. I got the Periscope 360 in one hand and the original Periscope in another hand. And we're watching on the Kinect camera. There's something that's on the ground crawling toward me.
Yeah, I've heard other people talk about a crawler in that place.
Yeah.
I spent 3 nights in there. I spent one night in there all by myself. And it sounded like somebody was walking back and forth on the upstairs floor the entire night. Pacing like, what are you doing here? Get out of here,
In the attic, right?
Yep. I stayed downstairs on that couch, and it was stairs right in the wall, where the hallway is. Mm-hmm. And you could hear somebody with heavy, heavy footsteps just pacing up there.
Yeah, we actually heard somebody walking up the steps while we were filming because there was styrofoam on the ground, and we heard the styrofoam crack. Like somebody was stepping on the styrofoam. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And I ran over there like an idiot going, who's over here? Yeah, I'm an idiot when it comes to that. So, all right. Well, Paula's going to start asking you some questions now. This is going to be fun.
Do you believe some people... Okay. Do you believe some people are more perceptive to paranormal activities than others?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I'll give you an example. How many times have you been like anywhere where there's different people involved and you're getting stuff, like you have one group of people in a room getting all kind of good stuff and then someone walks in and it just stops?
Yes.
We call them energy killers. Yeah, I definitely believe that. For whatever reason, whatever we're communicating with doesn't like that person and they just shut down sometimes. I've seen it happen many, many times. Then I've seen other people, you're getting some stuff, maybe not too much, and someone else comes in the room and it goes off the hook.
It's kind of like a poltergeist, in other words. Someone that's actually is carrying all this, and you're not getting diddly squat until this person walks in, and everything just goes off the chart, and then one person leaves, then it goes dead. It's like, bring that person back.
Some spirits like people more than other people. I mean, it's just like, in my opinion, it's just like, you know how you meet a person that has a dog, and you let a dog sniff your hand to get to know the person, and the dog's reaction is, "Oh, he's friendly, pet me." Or in the same concept, the dog would look at you, smell you, and growl at you, but the next person he would let pet. So I feel like spirits are kind of the same way. They can be, it's a bad analogy, but they can sniff you out to see if you're a person that would be interesting to communicate with, or be like, oh, no, he's an asshole. Who wants to fool with him?
Well, I hope there's no ghost sniffing my butt. I hope there's no ghost sniffing my butt.
You never know.
Well, they always say a ghost could be humping you right now. You never know. Oh,
yeah, that's true.
What's that one shirt? Ghosts watch you poop.
Ghosts watch you poop.
They do. They do. They certainly do. So, when you're out on an investigation, what do you usually use to communicate with spirits? Are you using like devices? Using yourself? How do you go about communicating?
I use everything, man. I mean, usually I like to walk into place and kind of get a feel for it, see if I can pick up on any energies with my body. I think people that have done this for quite some time become more perceptive and receptive to these things.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I can walk into a place and you can feel that sad energy or the mad energy or even the happiness of some places. You can just feel that.
Right.
And if I walk into a place and the hair on the back of my neck stands up in my arms, I'm like, this, here we go, or whatever.
Right.
And, and then, of course, I'll walk through first by myself, then I'll go out and grab an EMF meter and where I felt, that energy spike or whatever, and go there and see if I can document that with a piece of equipment. And, and then just work around the whole property like that, and then go further and further into the investigation and try different things. You have to think outside the box when you're an investigator. You have to try different things because some spirits or entities might be receptive to one thing, but they see something they don't like or it scares them possibly, or they're, because a lot of these spirits, in my point of view, they don't even know they're dead. They're going about life like they're still alive and they are, and I think that's a lot of the reasons that sometimes people get scratched, because how frustrating would it be if you're standing in a room with someone and you can see them, but they can't see you, and you're sitting there yelling and screaming at them, and they're just ignoring you. So you get pissed and you go over there and scratch, grab a hold of them and scratch them or something. Say, hey, I'm here. Look at me. Why aren't you paying attention to me? So, that's one thing I try to tell people. Just because you get scratched doesn't always mean it's bad. It's something trying to get your attention. So you got to think outside the box. You got to try different things to garner those results.
Oh, yeah. When we think outside the box, we get reamed for it. Don't we, Paula?
Yeah, some of my project ideas that we come up with kind of gets us in trouble.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yep. And when I get scratched and kicked and slapped, and it's just not them saying, hey, they don't like me. I don't know what it is. They don't like me. They've been good lately. I haven't gotten anything, but yeah, before, I got kicked in the shin. I got scratched, paper cuts at the St. Albans Sanatorium. I got pushed down the stairs carrying a $4,000 camera at the Massac County Courthouse. I've been tripped at the German cemetery. Been tugged at, where the heck was that? Carter's Mill. So, yeah, I wasn't deserving it. It just happened. Paula finally got scratched. I was happy.
Yeah, I know you were.
Yeah, I was ecstatic. I was happy. Over at the Malvern Manor, she's up in Hank's room, and she's like, Hank, why are you always hurting women? Do you get a kick out of this?
He doesn't like female investigators, and for some reason he has an issue with female investigators being in his room. Now, if you're a male, or if you're a dog, or if you're a kid, whatever, you go in the room, he doesn't care. If you're a female, go in there and having a conversation with him, he just like, screw you, I'm going to go over and attack you and be done with it.
So she's sitting there with her camera, and she's doing her thing, and all she goes, I'm getting a burning sensation on my back, and I'm like, yes, you got scratched. Although I'm not sharing your enthusiasm, come over here and look. Sure enough, carried the camera, walked on over there. There was about a foot-long scratch going from the bottom of her bra strap straight down the middle of her back. And there's no way she did it because, well, she had a camera and an Eddie in your hand?
Yep, I had a camera and an Eddie, so both hands were full.
Yeah.
There was no way.
So she got this pretty scratch.
Nice.
I was shocked. So, here's a question for you. You ever watch Supernatural?
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right.
I love that shit.
Oh, me too. I'm a huge fan. We're actually friends with Jensen and Jared. We were supposed to go meet them, was it this year or next year? No, it was this year.
It was this year.
It was this year. We were supposed to go to Austin and go to the Family Business Brewery. And, well, we couldn't because we've been too busy filming Truth or Legends in your hometown. But here's the thing. What are the chances that we actually do have demons and angels walking among us, just like Castiel and Crowley? Wouldn't that be amazing if that really does happen, but you and I, we don't get to partake or see any of that?
Yeah. I think it's a definite possibility. I mean, if you hear some of these accounts from people and whatnot, you got to take it into consideration. Like I said earlier in the show, I can't make a judgment on people just because I didn't experience what they did, and I take it to heart, when they tell me a story like that, because they're sharing a really personal experience with you, and you have to, take that into consideration. You just have to.
Yeah. Well, I've always been wondering that because, I mean, that would be so cool to, like, actually, witness these angel and demon fights with demon blades and angel blade. And watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say if it was really going down like that, we probably wouldn't want to be anywhere near something like that. But
yeah, that's true.
But it would be crazy. I mean, it would be crazy to witness something like that.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, then you would have the werewolves and the vampires and the gimps and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always like,
that show's based loosely off of what all of us do. So except we're not out there killing them with weapons and whatnot.
Well, you do know, Richard and his writers are actually using real sigils. Those are freaking real. I mean, they might add different things to it, but those are real sigils. Like the Purgatory one, that is real. The Demon Trap, that is real. Of course, the one banishing angels, that's not real. But the Lucifer one, that's real. I mean, most of those things are freaking real because I have seen them. I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. You're using real sigils in a TV show.
Yep.
What could you possibly...
That's crazy.
Yeah, what could you possibly be conjuring while you're filming, right?
Right. I wonder... It kind of sparks my interest, too. I wonder if they ever experience any weird paranormal stuff going on while they're filming.
I don't know. All I know is that when we were going to go hang out with Jensen and Jared, we were going to say, hey, we're the real ghost facers. I just want to see Jensen's look on that.
I think one of my favorite episodes of that show was when they did the Scooby-Doo episode. That was awesome.
Hell yeah. That was cool. Dibs on Daphne. That was awesome. I love that. That was You watched that one, didn't you? You didn't watch the Scooby-Doo one?
Yeah, I watched the Scooby-Doo one. I had to think.
I was hoping you did. That was awesome. So, along the same line, what can you tell people who are afraid of the supernatural? the people that are actually starting out to be ghost hunters, what kind of advice can you give them if they're afraid?
Well, I always give them to, number one, if you're scared, you're doing the wrong stuff. You don't need to even be in it, personally. Number two, if you're interested in it and you want to learn more, get with a team of people that have been doing it a long time. Learn how they do things, and then you can kind of morph your own ideas and try different things. But you need to learn before you do. A lot of these groups out there today, they watch a TV show and they think they can go out and investigate in an hour and capture all this phenomenal stuff, and that's just not how it works. We all know that. And from my personal experiences and my opinion, it can be dangerous.
Oh yeah.
People get attachments, people get scratched, hurt. I've seen seasoned paranormal investigators' lives turn to shambles from this stuff. Because these spirits will affect you mentally, spiritually, and physically. I've seen people, go through crazy divorces, go financially ruined, out of nowhere after an investigation. Just the most craziest stuff happens, and then they go and get cleansed, and then everything seems to turn around overnight. So, there's no coincidence in that kind of stuff when it comes to that, in my opinion, anyway. 'Cause I've seen it happen many times to many really seasoned investigators as well. And I've also seen, you can pick up an attachment just by going somewhere. I mean, it can happen. It could happen. You don't have to be investigating, but when you're going out constantly looking for these things, your odds go drastically up to possibly get an attachment of some sort. So, everybody wants to go do all these dark locations because that's what they see on TV. And I'm telling you, it's not. You better be careful what you ask for because you might just get it.
Kind of like with us. In 2022, we're going to Italy, and we're taking a boat to Poviglia.
Poviglia.
Poviglia. There you go, Poviglia. Yeah, we're going there.
Yeah, I lived 30 minutes from there for 5 years when I was in the Air Force.
Did you ever go over there?
I tried, and no one would take me. It's a cursed island, and it's very hard to find someone to take you there. And if you do find someone to take you there, you're going to pay a lot of money, and they're not even going to stop at the dock. You have to jump off onto the dock with your gear and stuff, and then they said they'll be back to pick you up the next day.
Yep.
They do not wait there for you.
I try to tell Paula all about it. She's like, why is it people won't go there? I'm like, fishermen won't even go near there. That's why you got to charter your own boat to go over there.
It's just, their belief system is cursed. Many thousands of people died there. The island's pretty much all bones from the Black Plague days.
Yep.
Venice is one of the oldest cities in the world. And, if you fall in the canal there, you're going to go into quarantine for about a week. Mandatory. You have no choice. That's how dirty it is.
Damn. So even to this day, the water is dirty.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. Well, I was looking at some satellite imagery of how do you say it again?
What?
Poviglia. Yeah.
Poviglia.
Oh, well, you say it. I was looking at satellite imagery, and it looks like, to me, there's sunken boats in the water.
Oh, yeah. Well, you gotta think of the history there, man. I mean, there's it goes back before, the 1500s or whatever. So, I did do several investigations while I was over there. I did an old monastery called the Lucido Monastery. That was in the 1500s. That was abandoned. A lot of satanic stuff has gone on there over the years and still goes on there today. And it was really crazy. We got some chanting on EVPs, and I had two big MP buddies with me, and they got so freaked out they took off and left me there. And I was like, man, you guys suck. I was out there by myself and was hearing all kind of weird stuff. And then I did an old cotton mill there that was really haunted. Got a bunch of EVPs and Italian and even some in Latin, when I was in that monastery. So it was crazy. I used to walk the streets of Venice at night doing EVPs real late at night and stuff. So it's a super, super historical area, and if you get to go there to the island, you're lucky, because it's very hard to find people to take you there. Recently, that place was bought out by somebody, so I guess maybe it'll be easier to get there now. You know.
Yeah, I heard about that, but no, it's still vacant. They're supposedly wanting to go ahead and build a hotel there, and I'm like, seriously? You're an idiot if you want to build that shit there.
Yeah. Yeah, if that happens, that's going to be the most haunted hotel in the world, probably.
Oh, the whole damn island is. I was telling Paula that, some of the things that happened there, they had doctors doing some crazy surgeries. They were doing lobotomies. The Black Plague people, they would march them over the bridge and burn them on the other side of the island. They didn't even do mass graves. They just burned them. And then what they did is they took the ground coverings or the ashes and everything with the dirt and then use it to go back over the land. So you're basically walking on dead people.
Yeah.
That just
100%.
Yeah, that just makes it the most freaking haunted island in the world.
Oh yeah,
and
I agree.
And we actually get to step foot on it.
I will get there one day.
I mean, damn, that is whoo. But I was telling her about that. It's a curse, people don't want to go there because of what happens. And she's like, well, what's the deal with it? Why is it so cursed? And that's the reason why we're actually going to charter a boat. We're going to get a boat and go over there ourselves. So that way we don't have to worry about paying somebody to do that.
Yeah.
So,
that'd be the best way to do it.
Yeah. So that I can't wait to go to Venice because that's kind of cool. Sitting in the gondolas as they go down the canal.
Yeah, just don't fall in that water, man.
What are you looking at me all funny? You're not going to fall in the water. She's looking at me when I said canal, and she's just like, what? No. She's afraid of water. So, yeah. I'm thinking it'll be kind of cool. So, I didn't know that you actually were based in Italy.
Yeah, I was stationed at Aviano for almost just under 5 years.
And that was in the Air Force?
Right up the road. Yeah, in the Air Force, yep.
What other places in Europe were you stationed at? Was that just it?
Well, I was in the desert a few times, and I was in Peru, and my first duty base was at Tucson, Davis Mountain Air Force Base in Tucson. Then I got orders to go to Italy.
Man.
But I was all over the place out of there. I mean, I was in that Kosovo war over there and all that stuff.
Wow. That's crazy. So, it's kind of hard to ask this question because you've been doing this for 30 years and you've been, God knows, everywhere. And you've been to a lot of places that we haven't been to, and some of them we can't go to, well, because they're gone. But how many locations have you investigated within 30 years?
I don't even know, man. I mean, if you count residentials, God, it's got to be in around 1,000, probably, I'd say.
Damn.
A few years ago, I was doing multiple investigations a week, man. I mean, I was wide open. And I had to, this year, I slowed way down. I mean, I would do at least one a week for many years, at least. Because that's what I was doing all the time. And then when I retired, when I retired in 2011, that's when I really hit the investigations hard. So, when I was working, of course, I couldn't do as many, but whenever I had time, I would go out and, check out places, or I'd have a residential. So, I don't even know. I mean, I had a list of them at one time, but I really stopped adding to it. I keep case files on residentials and some of the ones that are more, what do you say?
Memorable?
Some of the public ones, that are way more active than the other ones, like Trans-Allegheny and stuff like that, But, Waverly and numerous other ones. But, I mean, I really stopped counting after so many years. I mean, I had so many. I mean, you could go out and do an EVP session. That really counts as an investigation. I mean, technically. But,
Yeah.
You know, overall hundreds and upwards of 1,000, I'd say, maybe. You know, right around there somewhere.
When you were doing, I was gonna say, when you were doing residentials, did you ever come across an issue where they were like a bunch of residential houses in the same vicinity having paranormal activity? Have you ever encountered that?
Oh yeah, yep.
So,
the place in Kentucky I did, it was actually a trailer park, and this woman had called me, and her husband had shot himself, or her boyfriend. I can't remember which one it was. It was either a husband or a boyfriend. Anyway, the bullet hole's still in the ceiling and everything, like where it went through his head. And come to find out, after some research, another guy that had lived in the same place, he offed himself too. And then a little girl next door drowned in the swimming pool.
Damn.
And so I started running, you know, once the neighbors found out what I was doing there, because I went there and stayed for a while, you know, and investigated, because this place was off the chain, man. There was cabinets opening by themselves, radios turning on and off, all kind of poltergeist type stuff going on.
Damn.
And so then the neighbors found out, and then they started coming over telling me this story and that story about what's going on in their house. I mean, literally, I spent like a month going back and forth to this place, investigating all these different people's houses, you know. And come to find out, right up on the hill behind the trailer park was an Indian burial ground. So, you know, started doing more research and all this stuff, and, you know, it was one of those places where there was a massacre and all kinds of stuff that went on there. So, yeah, you know, there's places like that the whole area is just off the chain. Virginia City is another place. The whole damn town's haunted. Damn. Gettysburg, the whole damn, you know, the whole damn town's haunted. I mean, there's numerous ones, you know.
So, if it wasn't Native American burial or Native American land, what would you think that would be causing all the haunt? Would it be something to do with the ley lines?
Oh, it could be many different factors, you know. I mean, somebody could have conjured stuff in that area way back, or you know, in more recent times. I mean, you know, when you look at these things, you guys look at all the aspects. It could be ley lines. It could be geomagnetical anomalies causing this stuff. You know, also you got to look at you know, the EMF in an area as well, because you know, EMF makes people hallucinate. High EMF fields make people hallucinate and see stuff and everything else. So they've done a lot of studies on that in recent years, and it's pretty much a proven thing that it alters some people, not all people, but it alters their brain patterns and stuff.
Yeah. Also carbon monoxide.
Yep. And you got to take all that into consideration, you know, I mean, when you do this stuff.
I mean, that's the one thing that we were doing when we actually did residentials. We would check for electrical leaks, high EMF, and, of course, carbon monoxide, because if the people were sitting there saying that they're having hallucinations or they're seeing doppelgangers and this and that, and if we didn't actually find that out, then it's like, well, you're not really experiencing a paranormal activity. It's basically this. And one person I found out from a friend of mine that did an investigation, they said that there's one person who was actually having hallucinations and feeling that they were sleep paralysis. Come to find out, high EMF was coming off of their clock radio that's right by their head.
Yeah, there you go.
I never would have suspected or thought of that.
So did they move it and then everything stopped?
Yeah, sure did. But that just
there you go.
That just blew my mind. I mean, how much EMF can come out of a clock radio?
Must be a lot.
I mean, it's the same as well. You've been to Bobby Mackey's, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I've investigated that place like 5 times, man.
So did you hallucinate in the basement?
No.
Did you feel weird in the basement?
I didn't feel weird. I mean, I guess you could say I did. I mean, you could feel the energy difference in there. But the first time I went there, it was pretty dead. Wasn't nothing, no pun intended, but there wasn't nothing much going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time, it was off the chain. And then the third time, it was kind of, mediocre again. And then, anyway, going all the way, and it was kind of back and forth with it. And then the last time I was there, it was off the chain. I mean, we went there with a guy named L.A. Beast, who's a professional eater, and he wanted to do some paranormal stuff, and he's huge on YouTube. He's got millions of viewers and all that, millions of fans and subs and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he became friends with us and wanted us to take him to Bobby Mackey's. You know, he friended Sean Austin, and then Sean's like, dude, we're taking the Beast over to Bobby Mackey's because he wants to go to some crazy dark places.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned into this big thing. It was on Valentine's Day where he was going to eat a raw cow heart and all this stuff, right? So we went there and we investigated and everything, and he got there a day before us, so he went to because he had to talk to Bobby's manager and all that about the event and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So he went down to the thing and stood in the freaking well and was freaking provoking, saying, do something to me right now, and all this crazy stuff, right? Because he was a hardcore skeptic, and he wanted to have an experience. Well, let me tell you, he had a serious experience, and I'm not going to go into all of it, but he became highly irritated that night. He was not his normal self. He was, he had an attitude. He was mad and wanted to smash stuff and all this stuff. And we're like, dude, you need to go chill out, And Sean did some stuff on him, to get him cleared up. But then after that whole investigation, he had something really profound happen to him, but he doesn't talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about it either. But I'll just tell you, he almost died. That's all I can say about it.
Oh,
wow. Anyway, we had some profound experiences. We were over, where the dressing rooms are down there in the basement. We were doing some stuff with different devices, and all of us were over there. There's 4 of us. And I had sat an empty chew can on the table that was like 30 feet away from us. We're all intense because we're getting hits on stuff and we're doing an EVP session. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden we hear this ping, 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 ping sound. And we're like, what the frick was that? And, of course, we're turning on the flashlights, looking, and we see my chew can to the left of us on the ground. So something picked that chew can up and threw it over towards us, and it hit on the other side of us and rolled around. And then we were up in Carl's apartment. Bobby let us go up there, and I asked a question. I said, Carl, if you're here with us, can you tell me, I said, is Bobby Mackey's really a portal to hell? And we got a clear as a bell response that said yes. And we played it back for Bobby, and he said, oh, my God, that's Carl's voice, and there's no doubt about it. So we got we got some really good stuff there. The Beast was freaking, he was severely affected because he did some serious provoking and something messed with him hardcore. What it was, I can't say, but I don't know, but like we go back to the show when we're talking about the stuff can be dangerous, you need to be careful what you do and how you say it and how you do it.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I would ask about Bobby Mackey's is because right next to where the dressing rooms are, there's a walkway that takes you to kind of a back hallway, sort of. And there's this big, huge-ass transformer back there.
Wow.
That's why
that's putting up a major EMF.
Yeah, that's the reason why I was asking if you felt funny, because I was told, do not put any gear on the side of the dressing room because it will fry it. I'm like, why?
Wow.
And I walked back there to see, and sure enough, there's a big-ass transformer back there. So when that thing...
that could be
some
explanations for some of the stuff, but it's still only seen everything that went down with us.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I asked if people are starting to hallucinate and they're seeing things and or feeling dizzy. It's because that transformer is giving off high EMF.
Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, because when we were there, one of our investigators got scratched in the woman's bathroom, which is hilarious. This is during the tour that when Wanda Kay was giving us a tour of Bobby Mackey before we started investigating. And he's just in there, and next thing you know, he gets a scratch on his arm. And he's by himself in the woman's room. We're all in there in the woman's room, but he's like standing there, and next thing you know, he gets a whoosh right down his arm. He's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I'm like, dang,
Yep.
somebody don't like you in here, because supposedly there's a woman that actually goes in there and she, I guess she's mad at the world or something, but if someone comes in there she don't like, she's going to scratch them.
Yeah. I wonder if it's Johanna.
I don't know about that. We actually done a lot of research on Bobby Mackey's, and I'll probably have to tell you off the air.
No worries.
Yeah,
I got you. Know what you're talking about.
But yeah, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
But for residentials, yeah, that's something that you have to go ahead and check out. You need to, check the man-made artifacts to see if they have high EMF from electrical devices, electrical leaks, carbon monoxide, all that good fun stuff.
Oh yeah, all that definitely plays a role in all of this. I mean, you try to weed that stuff out. And a lot of people, one of the questions I ask them when I interview them, one of the first things I say are you on any kind of psychotropic medications? Because, just because even if they are doesn't mean they're not experiencing anything, but you have to take that into consideration as well.
Oh yeah.
Because if they're taking heavy mental narcotics, the odds are they're going to be seeing stuff and whatnot. So, I mean, it's just one of the aspects you have to look into.
Exactly. I remember they actually asked that question in Ghostbusters. Are you using any stimulants, alcohol, drugs? Oh, man. So, in your experiences, which you have a lot, anything that has totally terrified you and made you run for the hills?
No, just like I said, the only time we really cut and run was a little early was that Revenant Acres investigation, because sometimes you have to make a judgment call, and that's what we did, and that was like the only time that I can ever recall I rolled out of an investigation earlier than I was supposed to be there for, but just made an informed decision that we felt something may happen that was even more drastic than the whole house shaking. So that was about the only time. But I've seen some pretty messed up stuff happen. Seen my friends get bit on the leg. He had a human bite mark appear on his leg, and all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just what we do. Most times, 99.9% of the time, you're going to run to it and try to document it and see what happens,
So what do you think the chances are the next team that went there right after you guys happened to experience almost the same thing or anything at all?
I didn't hear anybody talking about it. I watched the page and stuff, and tried to find out if anybody else had experienced that, but nobody, to my knowledge, had experienced that at that time or after. Doesn't mean they didn't. They just haven't talked about it.
True. Or it took a liking to one of the investigators and went after him.
Yeah. I mean, there's all kind of ways you can run with it, that could have happened.
Man, I sure wish we had the chance to go there. Oh, well, actually, we did have the chance. We just couldn't go. God, that sucks. I mean,
I hear you.
You've been to Trans-Allegheny. We want to go there.
I've been there. I used to walk in there at will before the new owners took over.
Oh.
I've done that place so many times I can't even remember.
Man, lucky.
I got one of my best pieces of evidence there. I got a full-bodied shadow figure walking across the hallway there. It's a little grainy because of the IR tech back in those days with the camera.
Right.
Wasn't that good. And I didn't have real good lighting either, but you can see it pretty damn clear. I mean, it's a full-bodied. You can see the head, neck, shoulders, arm swing, waist, legs move.
Damn.
Just standing and walks across the hall from left to right. It's pretty crazy. It's on my web. It's on my, well, it used to be. I need to put it back up there because I redid my website. But, yeah, it's on my YouTube channel, too. You can find it on my YouTube channel.
I'll have to check that out. All right, well, we are at the almost the end of the show, and now this is your time to go ahead and tell our listeners where they can find you, what additional shows you've been on, more information about your books, how they can get your books. I'm sure there's probably going to be some people that want to check out the West Virginia Bigfoot. So the floor is yours. Go ahead and let everybody know.
All right, man. You can if you go to my website, it's www.davespinks.paranormalinvestigator.com. Just go there. You can see upcoming events I'll be appearing at. You can see a lot of different stuff about the weep and other things. If you even want to report a sighting or an encounter, there's a spot for that on the page. You can see some of the TV shows I've been on, some of the clips from some of that, and more. I mean, just go to my website, and it's full of everything. You can get my books off of Amazon. Just type my name in the authors or in the book section, and you can go order them from there. Or if you want a signed copy, you can private message me. I'll send you my PayPal link, and I'll send you a signed copy of whichever book you want straight to your house. So that's basically it.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
The website is a one-stop shop for everything, but don't buy any books off the website because that site, my store, is not set up correctly. It's messed up right now.
Uh-oh. Well, we got to get that.
You can get them off of Amazon or directly from me.
Yeah, you might want to get that site fixed because there's probably going to be a lot of people that try to order by using their phone or tablet. I've seen that happen a lot.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, the best place to do it is get it on Amazon, and if you want a signed copy, just get it from me. And also, everything's on the website, man. I mean, stuff about the weep, stuff about the books, and everything else is all on the website. www.davespinks.paranormalinvestigator.com. You can see upcoming events and the whole 9 yards.
I'm typing it in. I'm pulling it up on my website here. Yep, there it is. Real Supernatural. I just want to see. Uh-oh.
Sorry about that.
Is that your website or your phone?
That was my car.
Oh.
A lot of times I'll do these shows in the car because it's quiet and the kids aren't loud, and I come out here and just hang out in the car, man.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
Well, my daughter, man, she's wide open. She's a noisy little thing.
Well, I do appreciate you being on the show tonight. I mean, it was truly informative. We got a lot of information.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, we can have you on here anytime, really. Got to check out the shows that you're going to be in. Paranormal 911. Let's see. Terror in the Woods. The Unexplained, that is narrated by Captain Kirk, William Shatner.
Yeah, I'm in a couple of episodes of that one. Episode 1 called Evil Places, and episode 3 in Strange Creatures. Hopefully I'll be doing some more with that, too. It looks like it may happen. But These Woods Are Haunted. I just filmed a new show that I can't talk about that'll be out next year on Travel Channel as well.
Yep.
And lots more. I just filmed a new movie about the Flatwoods Monster that'll be out next year.
Cool.
And lots more going on with the Willows Weep House too. That's all I can say right now.
All right, man. Well, we're gonna go ahead and close the show now. It's top of it. Well, it's 10 o'clock. It's my bedtime. No.
Yep.
So, but once again, we do appreciate you being on the show, and we will have you back on another time. Right?
All right, man. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, well, there you go, folks. Very informative show tonight. I mean, man, this guy has done a lot. And if you check out the Unexplained that's narrated by William Shatner, you'll actually enjoy that. Check out the one with Willow's Weep. That one's pretty cool. I've watched it. Things about the Willow's Weep is truly amazing. The house is in the shape of a cross. But, like I stated, he's been in various television shows: Terror in the Woods, Paranormal 911, The Unexplained, In the Search of Monsters, and these woods are haunted. So, check that out. Also, look out for his movie, The Flatwoods Monsters, put out by Small Town Monsters. So check that out. And join us next Wednesday. Who are we having next Wednesday, you know?
I don't have my calendar.
I have no idea either. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I want to say it's Stephanie Bingham, but let me get my calendar.
Oh, we don't need to worry about it. It's fine. So, anyway,
I think it's Stephanie Bingham.
we think it's Stephanie Bingham, but we're not really sure.
We can't keep
But anyway, everybody have yourself a great night. We're signing off.
Phantasmic Journey Podcast is brought to you by Tascam and Amazon Studios. For more than 30 years, Tascam has developed products for every segment of the sound and music industry. From the high-end audio professional in a major post-production studio to the novice of hobbyist at home, Tascam is everywhere. They are a company committed to providing their customers audio and video solutions that enable breakthroughs by using sound in ways that are exciting as they are accessible, even recording the voices of the dead. You asked for a non-scripted paranormal TV show. You begged for a non-staged paranormal TV show. You begged and you pleaded, and we have listened. We present to you Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown. It was released October 31st, 2017. In this series, we show you what it's like behind the scenes and conducting a real paranormal investigation. Join Gavin Kelly, Colin Purcell, and their special guests to seek out the existence of life after death by going to numerous haunted locations such as jails, hospitals, battlefields, and museums, collecting compelling evidence by means of video, photography, and EVPs. In this season, the crew investigates the St. Albans Sanatorium, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, Jailhouse Pizza, and the famed Monroe House. And you can watch Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown on Amazon.com right now. Season 2 and 3 will be coming soon. Your journey begins now. As you all have of the known and unknown. What do we understand? What answers are we trying to achieve? Are there answers? Tonight, we gather to find more verity. Join us as we take the journey into the unknown. This is the Phantasmic Journey Podcast.